Sydney's Harbour is a glittering stage where the world's most expensive real estate performs an endless, silent dance. From the deck of a ferry or the shoreline of Rose Bay, the view of Point Piper, Vaucluse, and Mossman is one of architectural dominance. These are the suburbs of dreams, where sandstone cliffs meet manicured lawns and glass-walled mansions cling to the edges of the Pacific. To the average observer, this landscape seems accessible through the lens of a smartphone, a simple search on a real estate app away. But that digital accessibility is a carefully constructed mirage. The most prestigious properties in Australia's harbour city are not found on your favourite property portal, and they certainly do not have a for sale sign staked into their pristine lawns. Instead, they exist in a parallel universe known as the shadow market, invisible to all but a select few. The reality of Sydney's high-end property landscape is defined by a staggering statistic of silence. Approximately 95% of so-called trophy homes, properties valued at $20 million and upward, trade in total secrecy. They bypass the traditional auction houses, ignore the bright lights of public marketing, and avoid the gaze of the general public entirely. This is the statistic of silence, a phenomenon where the city's most significant architectural assets change hands behind closed doors, often between parties who have never met face-to-face, facilitated by a network of elite real estate agents who treat their phone contacts like state secrets. In this rarefied air, the very concept of a public listing is often seen as a sign of weakness or a lack of true connection to the elite buying pool. This creates what we might call the digital ghost phenomenon. When you browse property listings online, you're viewing a filtered, lower-tier reality. Even the multi-million-dollar houses listed publicly are often just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface, the true masterpieces, the estates with private beaches, historical lineages, and eight-figure price tags, remain invisible to the public eye. They are digital ghosts, haunting the dreams of the wealthy, while remaining entirely undetectable by the algorithms of the masses. For the average person, the Sydney property market is a transparent book. For the ultra-rich, it is a series of encrypted files that require a high-level personal introduction to even acknowledge their existence. But what exactly is an off-market transaction? In its simplest form, it is a sale that occurs without any public advertising. There are no professional photography packages uploaded to the internet, no open house inspections for the curious neighbour, and no theatrical auctions on a Saturday morning. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. It is the standard operating procedure for Sydney's elite, a method of exchange that prioritises discretion above all else. It is a world where the transaction is a whisper rather than a shout, and where the most powerful tool an agent possesses is not a marketing budget, but a private database of vetted and high net worth buyers. This leads us to a fascinating paradox. In a traditional market, the goal is to reach as many potential buyers as possible to drive up the price through competition. Why then would a seller willingly limit their audience? Why would a billionaire homeowner choose to tell almost no one that their home is for sale? The answer lies in the unique psychology of the ultra-high net worth individual. For these sellers, the risk of a failed public campaign, the stigma of a property sitting on the market for too long, is far more damaging than the benefit of a wide audience. They are not looking for a crowd. They are looking for the one right person who understands the prestige of the asset. The stakes in this environment could not be higher. Sydney is no longer just a local hub. It has ascended to the global stage as one of the most expensive and volatile luxury markets on the planet. It now rivals the storied corridors of New York's Billionaires Row and the ultra-exclusive postcodes of London's Belgravia. In this high-stakes arena, the home is more than just a place to live. It is a portable asset, a status symbol, and a piece of private history. As the city continues to grow, the gap between the visible market and the invisible one only widens, leaving us to wonder what else is happening in those silent mansions on the cliffs of the harbour. The most expensive things in the city are rarely seen, but their presence is felt in every quiet handshake and private deal that reshapes the local skyline. The veil of secrecy surrounding these estates isn't merely a byproduct of wealth, and so it is the deliberate pursuit of privacy which has become the ultimate luxury in our hyper-connected age. For high net worth individuals, a public listing is a security nightmare. When a home is splashed across the internet,
Its floor plans, security layouts, and even the internal contents of its rooms become public record. For a billionaire, this is more than inconvenient. It is a vulnerability. They seek to avoid what the industry calls real estate tourism, the influx of curious onlookers and nosy neighbors who have no intention of buying but plenty of desire to gawk at a life they will never lead. In the world of the ultra-rich, anonymity is the shield that protects their lifestyle from the prying eyes of others. This desire for seclusion has led to the slow death of the public auction for Sydney's elite. To the average Australian, a Saturday morning auction is a national pastime, a theatrical event with a chanting auctioneer and a crowd of onlookers on the sidewalk. But for a seller in Point Piper or Vaucluse, this circus is viewed with genuine disdain. A public auction invites volatility and exposure, two things that the elite market loathes. They don't want their private business becoming a headline in the Sunday paper before the ink is dry. Instead of a public bidding war, they prefer the controlled, quiet environment of a private negotiation where terms can be hashed out over months, far away from the cameras. This shift has fundamentally changed the role of the elite real estate agent. No longer are they just salespeople.
They have become the curators of the Black Book. This legendary database contains the names of the few hundred people on the planet capable of purchasing a $100 million home. These pocket listings are the true inventory of Sydney's high-end market. An agent doesn't put a sign in the ground, they make 3 phone calls. They hold the keys to a kingdom that doesn't exist on any website. This evolution ensures that the most valuable assets remain within a closed loop of influence where information is traded like a precious commodity and exclusivity is maintained through strict gatekeeping. Standing alongside these agents is a new breed of power broker, the professional buyer's agent. These are the gatekeepers who represent the billionaire class, acting as a buffer between the wealthy buyer and the public. A buyer's agent is often the first to hear a whisper that a property might be for sale, often months before any official move. They are paid to know the secrets of the street, to understand which owner is considering a move to London or which family is looking to downsize. For the ultra-wealthy, the buyer's agent provides a layer of deniability, ensuring their identity remains hidden until the final stages of a deal. This system thrives on curated exclusivity. Before a potential buyer is allowed to step onto a property like the Fairwater estate or Edgewater, they are subjected to a rigorous vetting process. Agents will often demand proof of liquidity and conduct background checks to ensure the person is a serious contender and not just a well-dressed time waster. This process protects the seller's ego and ensuring that only those with actual means gain entry. It is a world where if you have to ask the price, you can't afford it, is a fundamental barrier to entry. The impact of this shadow market is most visible in the record-breaking sales of iconic estates. Consider Fairwater in Point Piper, which sold for a staggering $100 million. This transaction, one of the most significant in history, didn't happen because of a clever ad. It was a private negotiation that reshaped the entire suburb's valuation. Similarly, the Edgewater estate changed hands through a quiet, calculated process that bypassed the traditional market. These sales create a ripple effect. They set new benchmarks for price that the rest of the market follows, yet the details remain. While one might assume that hiding a property from the open market results in a lower price due to a lack of competition, the reality of Sydney's elite real estate landscape is often the opposite. This is what insiders call the exclusivity tax. When a mansion in Point Piper or Mosman is offered to only a handful of individuals in the entire world, those buyers aren't just paying for a home, they are buying the privilege of knowing about its existence. This sense of extreme urgency and the feeling of being part of an inner sanctum creates a psychological pressure that no public auction could ever replicate. To the billionaire buyer, the whisper of availability is a siren song. They are often willing to pay a massive premium to ensure that no one else ever gets the chance to even place a bid. In this rarefied air, the price is not determined by a crowd, but by the depth of a buyer's desire to maintain their standing within the social hierarchy of the Harbour. However, this culture of silence creates a significant problem for everyone else, a data vacuum. Because 95% of these trophy homes trade in total secrecy, the public record is essentially a work of fiction. When analysts look at Sydney's property market trends, they are only seeing the tip of the iceberg.
The true value of the city's most prestigious land, including historic estates like Fairwater and Edgewater, remains hidden in a shadow economy of housing. This lack of transparency means that even the most sophisticated algorithms and real estate experts struggle to accurately value the city.
It creates a distorted reality where the most important economic movements happen in the dark, leaving the general public and even high net worth individuals to make life altering decisions based on incomplete or outright misleading information. The market value we see on our screens is often just a ghost of the true wealth changing hands. This phenomenon further entrenches a profound social divide. We are witnessing the rise of a two-tiered society where the average person navigates a world of public listings, while the ultra-wealthy exist in a parallel universe of private handshakes and invisible assets. In Sydney, the best views and most historic land in Vaucluse
are being traded in circles that the public will never be invited to join. This isn't just about money, it's about the exclusivity of information.
It reinforces the idea that the most desirable parts of our world are increasingly reserved for a select few who possess the right phone numbers in their digital contact lists. The black book held by elite real estate agents is more than a list of names. It is the boundary of a private club that defines the city's upper crust. As we look toward the future, a clash is looming between the desire for privacy and the relentless march of technology. Prop tech companies are constantly trying to shine a light into these dark corners, using satellite imagery and artificial intelligence to expose these digital ghosts. But can technology truly break through a wall built of pure human instinct? For the elite, the desire for total privacy is not a passing trend. It is an unbreakable survival mechanism. While the rest of the world is encouraged to share every moment of their lives on social media, high net worth individuals are moving in the opposite direction, investing heavily in the right to be invisible. They understand that in an age of total surveillance, the ability to disappear is the ultimate sign of status. This brings us back to you. In a world where transparency is often heralded as the ultimate good, would you choose the same? If you had the means to buy a piece of the Sydney coastline, would you want the public win of a record-breaking auction, or would you find more prestige in the quiet power of a secret deal? Perhaps the most expensive thing you can buy in Sydney isn't the floor-to-ceiling glass walls or the private jetty. The true luxury, the one that commands the highest price of all, is the silence that follows the transaction. In a city that never stops talking about real estate, being the one person who doesn't have to say a single word is the ultimate flex. Should transparency in real estate be a legal requirement to ensure a fair market for everyone, or is the right to a private transaction an absolute pillar of a free society? We want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Does the shadow market fascinate you, or does it feel like another wall being built around the world's most beautiful places? Thank you for joining us on this investigation into the invisible heart of Sydney. Don't forget to like and subscribe as we continue to peel back the layers of the world's most exclusive markets. Silence may be golden, but information is the real currency of the Harbour.